In today's episode of Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we talk about a song who may have the most literal video we can think of.
We discuss reinventions and changing yourself.
And we talk about a song whose vocal belongs in its own Hall of Fame.
This is our discussion through Erasure's A Little Respect. Bill, for today's episode, we're doing something just a little bit different. This could be considered a breakfast episode because it's pretty early in the morning, considering when we usually record.
Yeah, this is before 9 o'clock. This is unheard of, so I don't know how this will alter our analysis.
And it's something new for us, and I can appreciate the reasoning behind it because today is a stat holiday in Canada.
Yep.
So we both have the day off of work. In order to respect our time, we decided to record early in the morning. I say early in winky fingers. Early in the morning, so we have the rest of the day to do whatever we want to do on our day off.
That's right. So we're just giving a little respect to each other.
Yes.
Now, today's song is a pretty bold song, not just in its sound, because it's got this power, but also the willingness to use a title that comes from a pretty famous song from a pretty famous singer who you wouldn't want to have your voice compared to. Unless you're Andy Bell, I think.
Yes. Andy Bell from Erasure has this beautiful voice for this song, and there's a power to it and there's a fragility to it at the same time, but he was always worried about the comparison to this song and Respect by Aretha Franklin. Respect by Aretha Franklin is just this powerhouse song.
But you know, as time has gone on, both songs have been able to have their spaces, right?
Yes.
And I feel like they're never in competition with each other.
No, exactly, yeah.
And only one of these, of course, gets picked for the Forrest Gump soundtrack. But that movie did end sometime in the mid-'80s, so there was no way of including this song from 1989. Right? This is 89?
Yes, it was released in 88, but it peaked in 1989.
We've had a lot of 1989 songs.
Yes.
Recently.
So we've already mentioned Andy Bell from the band Erasure, and I think it's important we need to walk through a little bit of their history. Erasure is a duo of Andy Bell on vocals and then Vince Clarke, who is the primary songwriter and producer of their albums. And Vince Clarke has a bonkers awesome history.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Up until Erasure, he was like a soul songwriter. When they got together, they actually became the songwriting credits are always to both of them.
Yes.
But you're right about him kind of being
bonkers, I said.
Bonkers. That's what you said. So let's start with what we know of Vince Clarke. Now, we have friends, Chris Newkirk especially, who knows very well the entire history, I believe, of Vince Clarke. Now, what I know about him is that he was...
Vince Clarke or Chris Newkirk?
Well, I know lots about both. But with Vince Clarke,
okay,
he's one of the founding members of Depeche Mode.
Yes.
And on that first Depeche Mode album, he wrote 8 of the 10 songs.
Yeah, he was the sole songwriter of Just Can't Get Enough.
It's getting hotter, it's a burning love, and I just can't seem to get enough.
And we'll post the link to it because there's this video of it from an Italian talk show, I think.
Yeah.
Where Depeche Mode is playing, and they all look like they're in grade 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're super young. Because that's late 70s, I think, right?
Yeah, and
Something
you can
like
see
that?
Vince Clarke, I think, is actually smiling there, which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
So he's in the first Depeche Mode. Well, that's pretty clever there. And then he leaves the band, which is surprising to me. I looked up to find out how acrimonious it was. I think it was a bit acrimonious.
Oh, okay.
But they wanted to go in different directions. I think he wanted to stick with the sort of pop synth direction.
Oh, okay.
And they were more interested in a rock.
Almost more of an industrial feel, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's a better way to put it. And so if you think of Just Can't Get Enough and Enjoy the Silence,
Yeah,
they're pretty different.
very much so, yes.
Okay. So Vince Clarke leaves and starts another band. Although I think he was mainly writing and finding vocalists because he didn't really want to sing.
Yes, that's correct. He went on to start Yazoo, or Yaz in North America, as they were
Right.
called, with Alison Moyet.
Right. And so he got her, I think, as a vocalist for a song that he was writing called
Mhm.
Only You, which he wrote solely.
Yeah,
And that song we know very well.
very well, yes.
All I needed was the love you gave. All I needed for another day. And all I ever knew. Only you.
And the record company said, this is so good, you should make an album together. So he makes an album with her, but they never connect at all.
No, she was kind of the face of the band, but she didn't do well with all the spotlight on her.
Right.
And he was always back behind the scenes, which, you know, producing and writing and all of that other sort of fun stuff.
Right.
But there was tension between the band.
Yeah. And he said they never really had a conversation. And she said, we never even went out for a pint or anything.
Yeah.
Like they had no connection together.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they only did 2 albums and then that was it.
Mhm.
Although they did do a tour in 2008, so they're on friendly terms. There's this sort of thread that seems to run through Vince Clarke's life where there is restoration in his relationships, from what I gather.
Yeah, so they get back together, eventually sort of bury the hatchet, maybe have that pint together.
Maybe. I
At
think
the
they finally
pub.
did, yes. So what I gather about him, though, especially in these early years, is that he has a very focused idea of what he wants to do. And he doesn't want people to get in the way of it. I mean, this is how I am with you on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like once we leave, we don't talk.
No.
Yeah, and I'm pretty moody and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not allowed to have a pint with you. Like, you drink the beer, but
Yeah, that's
like
right.
I can only just watch you.
Yeah. Well, I actually wrote in our contract you weren't supposed to look at me while we do this, and this is bothering me actually. But we'll talk. Let's not fight in front of the kids.
Yeah.
So Vince Clarke seems like the type. Like I don't want to go too far here, but I am, where I feel he doesn't make fast friendships. He's kind of in control of things.
Yeah.
And he ends up being on his own again. So he's left Depeche Mode. They were successful. He leaves. He has Yazoo. It's successful.
Yeah.
Leaves, or it ends. And now he puts out, and this comes up again and again, he puts out an ad in Melody Maker for a vocalist, for a band he's starting. And I don't know if his name is actually in there or not. I think it gets out that it's him because when Andy Bell, who hears about it, auditions, Vince Clarke was his hero.
Yeah.
And so I think there's at least 40 or 50 vocalists who tried out before Andy Bell finally got his turn. And Andy Bell, I think, was coming from a job at a shoe store.
Yeah, so he's a kindred spirit to you.
Yeah. Similarly, like he leaves a shoe store for glory. I left a shoe store many years ago for podcast glory many years later.
Yeah, because you had a couple other retail jobs between there.
Yeah, one of them was teaching math and,
Well, and you worked at a bookstore.
yeah, sold Bibles for a while. Yeah. I've been around, Frank.
Yeah. And Andy Bell, to prepare for this, and he's coming from Peterborough, England, not Peterborough, Ontario, for those of us who know where that is.
Lovely place, though, hey?
It is, yeah. Great lake system there, the Kawarthas. But he practiced by listening to a lot of Alison Moyet and Susie and the Banshees to prepare himself for his audition with Vince Clarke. So what's crazy to me is Vince Clarke puts this ad out and leaves his number out there. So his number is out there for anyone to call.
Right.
And Andy Bell left a message, and a couple of days later, this is when Vince Clarke calls him. And I suppose he brings him in to do the audition. But leaving your number out there, that's just bonkers. Like, I don't understand that. I don't want people I don't know to have my number.
Well, in the 80s, in order to call someone, you don't just text or any of that. You had to go pick up a phone.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even just pressing buttons. You had to do the full circle.
Oh, yeah, the rotary dial.
You had to be committed to call somebody.
Yeah.
It wasn't so easy.
It was an endeavor just to make a phone call.
But at the same time, do you remember that if you knew a number really well, that I could memorize how quickly I would turn like the arc of the circle of the phone, right? I knew exactly like how short or long it would be, so you could almost do it with your eyes closed if you're calling your best friend.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were the last with the rotary phones, so we still would have been maybe, I don't know, 10 or 11 when those kind of ended, I think.
We had one at our house. I was well into high school and we still had one.
Okay, yeah. I wonder if they'll come back in fashion like vinyl.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
I'm sure some hipster out there is.
I want so much to put a cell phone inside a rotary dial phone and just bring it on to like public transit or something like that and take a call on my rotary dial cell phone.
Hipsters be going wild for that.
Oh, I know, right? They'd be texting their friends on their typewriters.
Yes, it's okay. All right, anyways, back to Andy Bell and Vince Clarke.
Yes.
So when Andy Bell gets the job, Vincent Clarke already has like 12 songs ready for their first album. So they're all written by Vincent Clarke. That includes, I think, the song called Oh L'Amour.
Oh L'Amour, yeah.
That's a good song. And that's written all by Vince Clarke, including the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then that album doesn't really do that well as well, even though it's hailed kind of now. The second album, I think, is Circus.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's Two Ring Circus, which comes, I think, right after that. But either way, that's when they first started writing together. And Vincent Clarke said, I feel I should call him Vincent since I don't know him that well.
Yeah, it seems a little more proper.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Vincent. He said he never had written together with someone in that way because I don't know if he never made any connections with people, but he said that the two of them respected each other enough that he would come in with the melody and all the stuff on guitar. He'd played on guitar for Andy Bell. Andy Bell would come up with lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's how they came up with their songs.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's awesome. It's a little bit of Vince Clarke lowering his guard down a bit here, right?
Hugely. This is so much about his life, I think. And this is also why Erasure is still together.
Yeah.
We're talking nearly, well, I guess 40 years later.
40 years, yeah.
On top of this, the difference from previous Vince Clarke songs is that Andy Bell is able to write from a personal perspective, where Vince Clarke said he was never comfortable actually speaking that way. He always wanted to tell another story that wasn't connected to him.
Yeah, someone else's story, yes.
But there is something in Andy Bell's voice where you can hear someone singing with an open heart.
Yeah.
Where Vince Clarke is keeping the cards close to his chest.
Yeah.
If I may mix all my metaphors here. Where Andy Bell's okay with you seeing that he has a full house.
Yeah, I don't think he's a very good poker player then.
Right. But I don't like buying albums from poker players. I like buying albums from people with open hearts.
Okay, well, I guess you hate Lady Gaga then.
Oh yeah, poker face.
Yeah.
No one can see it.
Yeah.
Not Andy Bell. Everyone sees his poker face.
Exactly. So that brings us to their third album, which is called The Innocents.
What an album.
Yeah. And I remember this album primarily from my time in university. In 96, I think I have mentioned this before, I tried to reinvent my persona as the Canadian indie guy.
Well, right. You changed up. You started wearing glasses before you needed them.
Exactly, yes. And I really leaned into that. And because you're in university in residence, no one knows you from your past, so you can create this different persona. I remember this album because my friend Ian had it, and he was more into industrial music, and I was in my Canadian indie phase, even though if you went into my CD collection, no, you know what? I left my Michael Bolton and Mariah Carey CDs at home.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Well, this is the whole point of Guilt-Free Pleasures. You're reclaiming things.
Exactly. But I had never heard the album until I was in first year university, and it was always sitting in my friend Ian's sort of CD case. And back then, you only had about 15 CDs, or just so everyone understands from a younger generation, a CD is a more technologically advanced record. Instead of a needle, it's played by lasers.
That's right. Now most of them are used as coasters, I think, at their parents' houses.
I think so, yeah. But I remember always seeing that Erasure CD in and amongst his like Skinny Puppy and Nine Inch Nails CDs. And everything.
Wow.
And I borrowed it at one point, and it was one of those aha moments. This album is amazing. It's like, how have I slept on this for so long? Like the last 8 years.
Yeah. Well, you're only 19, so you'd be easier on yourself there, Frank. Interestingly, speaking of personas, Andy Bell said that before he was in Erasure, he was very much, am I saying that right? Erasure or Erasure?
I
Eraser.
always called it Erasure.
Erasure.
Erasure, sorry.
Erasure.
Yeah.
Okay, I have this feeling I'm pronouncing it wrong.
I think we are, but
Yeah.
let's lean into it. We do so many things wrong here,
Okay.
Bill.
Yeah, so forgiveness. If it's Erasure, which would be pretty cool,
Yeah.
someone let us know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure Chris will.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, he said he created his own persona as well when he was performing because he said he would camp it up. Where before he'd be pretty shy, he said, but the whole idea of like coming to London and being his own person or whatever.
Okay.
But when he'd perform up on stage, he'd wear outrageous outfits and do all these things just because he's up on stage.
Yeah. And we should mention this too. He was one of the very few openly gay pop stars in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like it was still a taboo back in the 80s, which
Yeah.
is crazy to me.
It is something to think about because when we look back on it, we can name these different stars who are gay.
Yeah.
But back then, the media was horrific in,
Yes.
especially the UK, here too. And if I
Yeah.
think about back in the time, it's a whole other climate, right?
Yeah.
But he was immediately honest about who he was in terms of his sexual orientation, right? And
Yeah.
that you only had, I think there's Bronski Beat
Yeah.
and maybe Frankie Goes to Hollywood. But other than that, it was pretty vague for everybody else. But he just always lived his life pretty open. And he said he's glad he did it. But that did keep them from being featured on like Rolling Stone covers and
Yeah.
other places. Like they were not as featured because of it.
Yeah.
And so this is something that they were able to still make a good living because the songs are so powerful. It was able to break through the bias of the culture.
Yeah, exactly. He said in an interview in Spin Magazine in 89 that he would sometimes introduce the song on stage by saying, "When I was a little girl, I asked my mommy, 'Can I be gay when I grow up?' She replied, 'Yes, if you show a little respect.'"
And that's when he'd do the song.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting thinking about some of the stories of when they were performing. He said this didn't happen often, but you'd get a crowd who were pretty negative
Yeah.
towards them because of his
Orientation.
So he wouldn't say the name of the place, but he said they were getting pelted with like toothpaste tubes because it was one of those concerts where people were giving free stuff by the advertisers.
Oh,
and so they
okay.
were chucking at the band. And Vince Clarke just said to him, "We got to get off stage." He goes, "No way." He might have put another word in between no and way. He goes,
Yeah.
"I'm singing." And so while they're doing the songs, things are coming at them, projectiles.
Yeah.
And I think this is where he ends with a little respect. And I think he tells the story.
Yeah.
In my mind, he's telling the story. They're yelling and throwing things. And he walks to the front of the stage to sing it. And he said not a single one of those things hit him.
Yeah.
I might have hit
that's
Vince
awesome.
Clarke about 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Who knows? But he played the song and won over the crowd. Like, even though they're yelling out their slurs at him, they're also dancing because
Yeah.
they love the song. And
That's
so
awesome.
he's out there kind of shining. Bit of
Yeah.
a Care Bear stare, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Although it wasn't as violent in Care Bears. No one threw toothpaste. Yeah. Colgate never had any of those Care Bears.
Well, now we lost the Colgate
Sponsorship.
advertisers sponsorship for the podcast.
All right, Crest, here's your moment. So,
I'm a bit of an Aquafresh guy myself.
okay. All right, back to a little respect. Well, we're still there.
Yeah.
But the writing of the song is interesting to me because it's the last song they wrote for this album.
Yeah.
And he said often the first single, even though this wasn't the first single is usually the last song they write together. But the last song they wrote together for this album ends up becoming their signature song.
Yes.
And so he said when they're writing it together, he wasn't thinking of anything in particular, like a specific thing he was writing about, because back then there were laws in the UK where I think around this time they made it illegal for schools to talk about same-sex relationships.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's
Okay.
like major laws that came out that it would seem like this song was speaking to. But he said he was thinking more generally about love, and also he wanted it to be like a hymn because he grew up going to, I think, church schools.
Yeah.
I don't think they're called church schools. Is there another phrase for it? Like schools that are religious?
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
I'm going to call
Yeah.
it church schools.
Yeah, church schools.
Because they don't have Catholic schools. It'd be Anglican schools.
Yeah.
Here we have Catholic schools, but he was at schools where they'd be singing in the church and loved hymns.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wanted this to have a hymn-like quality.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so popular, because you can feel yourself soaring up to heaven as you sing it.
Yeah, and there's some really neat vocal climbs that are happening with it, and we'll talk about those when we talk about the song a little bit.
I find it really cool that it's the synthesis from the master of the synthesizer, and then Andy Bell, who's a much younger guy coming into Vince Clarke's world,
Yeah.
and that they're able to make this song, and it endures so strongly.
Yes.
You're talking about the guy who wrote Just Can't Get Enough, Only You.
Yeah.
And now we have Little Respect.
There's a journalist, Chris Gerard, and he said about the song, very few pop songs can be considered perfect, and this is one of them. It's a guaranteed, even to this day, to get a room full of people singing at the top of their lungs. It just feels good.
Yeah. And you think that combo of the sounds, which are amazing.
Yeah.
But his voice is so critical, and what he's saying, the lyrics work perfectly, how he sings them works perfectly, and then the just pulsing beat.
Yeah.
And as it builds, everything is right.
And there's so much going on with it. There is that beat, there's the synth, but then there's that acoustic guitar, which just kind of
grounds it.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Yeah.
It makes it feel a little more real,
Yeah.
or a little more
Human.
down home. Yes, yeah.
And so much of this is about being human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is good stuff, Frank. Let's hope we pronounce the name of the band right, because this could all fall apart. All right. Should we dive into this song?
I think so, yes.
I try to discover.
You know, in my head, that beginning was a lot longer. It's only 7 seconds, and then he starts singing.
Yeah.
So that beginning is immediately memorable. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun.
And it starts off with the synth, and then that just steady drum beat.
Yes.
It just moves everything along so nicely.
All right, let's get to that first verse.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to discover a little something to make me sweeter. Oh, baby, refrain from breaking my heart. I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason why you're making me work so hard.
I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter. Oh, baby, refrain from breaking my heart.
All right, let's talk about this before the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
Okay. He begins by saying he's trying to discover a little something to make him sweeter.
Yeah.
And the idea is sweeter as in appeal to
More appealing, yes.
his lover,
Yeah.
right?
And we should also mention the song has a very, very big place in the gay community.
Yeah.
But when they wrote the song, it wasn't intended to be a gay anthem.
Yeah, he says actually he's really careful about having music videos where they put in women on purpose to make it about women, right?
Yeah.
But he also said, I purposely don't put pronouns in there so you think it's only about guys.
Yeah.
He wants it to be
Well, he's very inclusive
universal
in his message. Yeah.
And as it should be, but it is funny how it immediately gets pigeonholed. Oh, it's about gay love. I'm like, no, it's about love. It's not about relationships. It sounds like relationships are tough on both sides.
So yeah, back to the lyrics.
Back to the lyrics. Yeah. Okay. Oh, baby, refrain from breaking my heart. I love the term refrain, which does sound very hymnal.
Yeah.
They have refrains in those, but instead of stop, refrain is such a very proper way of saying, don't break my heart. I'm trying my best to make myself appealing to you. Please don't break my heart. And then, of course, he says, I'll be sad forever if you leave me. And then he says at the end there, that you give me no reason why you're making me work so hard. So what do you think about that, Frank? You give me no reason why you're making me work so hard.
According to the Songfacts webpage, the song is a plea for reconciliation from a lover who has been hurt. So I'm wondering, we'll say Andy Bell because he's the singer of the song.
Right.
Was he hurt or did he do the hurting at this point? Because my guess is that maybe he was the one that was hurt. Because the lyrics is give a little respect to me, like, respect me more. So it's trying to bridge that gap.
Right. And giving no reason maybe is also there's no hope there or that the person's not really showing any affection towards them.
So yeah, why are you making me work so hard?
What's the point of this?
Yeah, okay, so this is, for the sake of the song, this is Andy Bell saying, you're giving me no reason why I need to work so hard. Like, you need to give me some respect. So he's been jilted or hurt or disrespected.
Right, and he's so in love with the person who's not returning.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know anything about that.
No, I have no idea. I'm
No,
not currently going through that right now.
No, not at
I'm not.
No. This does bring back memories of high school. There's so much about just seeing someone you like and you're never talking to them, but you're getting nothing in return. Of course, you're maybe not setting anything out either or taking a shot.
Yeah,
or chance.
exactly. But this is all that perceived
my
relationship in
goodness.
your head, right?
Which is
'Cause
why
it's not a real one.
Right, which is why pop tunes work so well because so much of all of this just happens inside your head.
Yeah.
The real work of relationship is different.
Yeah.
That's adult contemporary tunes.
Yes, very
Right,
much
right.
so. Yeah.
Okay. All right, nailed it.
Did we though?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Pre-chorus. Ready? That you give me no. That you give me no. That you give me no. That you give me no.
I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason why you make me work so hard. That you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no soul.
I wonder what that means.
I think it's the no reason. I did have to go back to look for that. That you give me no. I'm like, oh, it's a reason. And this is why the song is about a little respect. There is no reason given. It's like the key of the song is that there's no reason given. You're not giving me reason. And in terms of reason, isn't like the thinking reason.
Say reason one more time.
Reason.
Okay.
And even as I said, Mino, I feel like that became its own word. Amino.
Yeah.
You're giving amino.
It's a song about biology, amino acids.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Some science teacher out there is now thinking of a great idea for teaching a lesson.
Yeah.
So,
you're welcome.
yeah, we want half the profits of the nothing you make.
Yeah.
But this is what we're reminded. There's no reason. There's no reason. You give me no. The reason doesn't come out, but it's give
Yeah.
me no. That you give me no. The
Yeah.
no is really important.
Yeah, but the reason is kind of implied, right?
Yeah. And so there's our pre-chorus. Yeah, I guess so. Because now we get to the chorus.
It rolls right into
it.
Yeah.
And this is so great. Soul. And I never knew he said this, soul. I thought he said so, but soul, I hear you calling. Oh, baby, please give a little respect to me.
Give me no soul. I hear you calling. Oh, baby, please give a little respect to
And that chorus, he just starts it off and just climbs and climbs and climbs. And what I love about it is anytime anyone sings this song, they get up to that comedic falsetto, like shrieking by the end.
Yeah.
He has such restraint in his voice, Andy Bell
Yeah.
does, that I hear you calling me, oh, baby, please, because everyone's already up there.
Yeah.
And then they have to go up even higher. But he sings it in such a way, there's a softness to it.
Yeah.
He's not going to those comic heights that
Yeah.
everybody thinks they need to go to
Right.
with this song.
You're right. And he begins very low.
Yeah.
Soul.
Yeah.
Right? That's low. I hear you calling. Yeah. He starts to ascend.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're right. And even when he says to me, it's not a big Celine Dion me.
Yeah.
It's tender. It's not like he's losing the note, but he just holds it there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, we got that vocal, but we got to talk about soul. Soul calling. I was looking up online what soul calling was.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. There's so many websites trying to sell me essential oils and, and just like bad coaching
Yeah.
about finding your soul calling, or then looking up what is soul calling. This is your deep vocation, or this is the deep thing inside of you that's calling out to the world. So you know what meaning is. I'm like, oh, shut up. I was just looking at the phone like, oh, be quiet. This is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
it is something in the song where he says, soul, I hear you calling. That's his soul.
Yeah.
And his soul is saying, I need this.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking as I read it. Soul, I hear you calling. And then he turns to the person. Oh, baby, please give a little respect to me. So his soul wants this love, but also needs to be respected.
Yeah.
And this does speak to a life of being out there, which is what Andy Bell has always done, where
Mhm.
he's honest and open. And this song is about being honest. He's being honest with the one he loves,
Yeah.
but the respect is not coming back to him. And the respect is being open and honest, or he just getting love in return.
Yeah.
And I think this is why culturally, as time has gone on, it's been seen as an anthem, because this is what we're all looking for,
Yeah.
right? And why it's celebrated, where it's like, please, we're here, respect us.
Yeah, and the community's just asking for that respect.
Right.
Like, we're people, we're human.
And then going back to our little high school worlds where it's like, please give a little respect to me.
Yeah.
Look over at the locker and they're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's the more grown up version of a Rodney Dangerfield stand-up routine.
Yeah, there it is. Oh my goodness. I never even pieced it together. It wasn't Aretha. It was always Rodney. Oh man. Okay. Verse 2, Frank.
Yeah.
I feel we're on a roll. And if I should falter, would you open your arms out to me? We can make love, not war, and live at peace in our hearts. And of course, I'm so in love with you, I'll be forever blue. And this part, I didn't realize he said at all.
Yeah, no, neither did I.
What religion or reason could drive a man to forsake his lover?
And if I should falter, would you open your arms out to me? We can make love, not war, and live at peace with our hearts. I'm so in love with you, I'll be forever blue. What religion or reason could drive a man to forsake his lover? Don't you tell me no, don't you tell me no, don't you tell me.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. All
Those are
right.
some big lyrics.
Yes, they are. So you have the, if I should falter, would you open your arms out to me?
I love that imagery of picking someone up when they're down.
Totally.
Right?
And this is a great sentiment in songs, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a Bruce Springsteen song that came out after this. If I should fall behind, will you wait for me?
Yeah.
But then, of course, if I fall, will you pick me up? But there's breathe. How can I fall? Oh, that's different.
yeah.
But either way, falling in love, but falling and being picked up,
Yeah.
being helped. And the idea that you're all alone. If I should falter,
Yeah.
right? This is hard not to hear it as an anthem.
But it's also that question, if I should falter, would you open your arms up to me? So he's asking, okay, if I'm down, are you going to help me?
It certainly seems like the person's not returning affection at all anymore. Maybe at one point they did.
And that's the whole give a little respect to me. Like, I'm putting the effort into this. Are you reciprocating?
Oh, man. I have a bad feeling about this relationship. I don't think it's going to work out. I think it will work out for the singer.
Yes.
It's going to find respect.
Yeah.
But in the midst of it, well, this is something I'm just coming to me. In all of the relationships we kind of find ourselves, you start to find out your own sort of self-respect. When things go badly, you realize what you quote unquote deserve. And so even if the thing doesn't work out, you come out of it realizing, ideally, what you need, what you deserve, and you kind of become more of a whole person, even though you felt like half a person.
Yeah.
That's pretty thoughtful of me there, Frank.
Very
Tell me.
thoughtful.
Yeah, thank you.
It's that journey and that growth that you take going through these relationships and going through these trials and tribulations, I guess, right?
Right. And in the ideal perfect setting, you come out more whole,
Yes.
not wholehearted.
Yeah, it's a little less extreme.
Yeah. Wink, wink. Okay, that's pretty good stuff. Look at us. We should record in the morning more often.
We should.
Okay. We can make love, not war. That's a classic sentiment,
Yeah.
right? And live at peace in our hearts. And so all the mixed metaphors of relationships where love and war all
Yeah.
seem to be part of the same thing. And I can't read these lyrics without thinking about that lovely and ridiculous video, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
I can't read this without seeing
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly. The
goodness.
soldiers
We'll
in
get-
the background.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get to this. And of course, I'm so in love with you, I'll be forever blue. We talked about that. But whatever religion or reason could drive a man to forsake his lover. I mean, it's hard not to read into that.
Mm-hmm.
The ways we can be divided.
Yeah.
And people talk about war and religion causing war. I always think it's power and money, but
yeah.
because I'm religious, I always try to say, no, not that. It's power and war, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
religion and reason do drive people apart.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So when he asks the question, what could drive a man to forsake his lover? How could you have religion or reason?
What is it that's more important than the love that we have?
Right. And if religion is supposed to be about that too.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot going on here. That second verse, he really goes for it.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Man, I really wish I had the lyric sheet with me when I first heard this song. I would have enjoyed it even more. And so we go back to that pre-chorus. Don't you tell me no?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're
Into the chorus again.
and again and again and again, and we're soaring to these heights. What else we got here musically, though?
Well, after we go into the chorus, there's this short little instrumental break.
Yeah, and it is beautiful.
It is awesome. It is just incredible.
Yeah.
And then we jump from that, and it's maybe a bar long or something like that. I don't understand what a bar is in music other than a place where musicians play.
Right.
But it's very, very short.
It's maybe several bars, like not a pub crawl.
Yeah.
Right, but several bars. A respectable crawl.
Yeah.
You're still not going to be,
you're not crawling.
You're not
You're
crawling.
actually still on your feet.
You'll be let in for the next chorus, right? The bouncer won't say you've been at too many bars.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then it's very good. Way to mix our metaphors. And then it's verse 3, which is I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason. You know, you make me work so hard.
I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason. You know you're making me work so hard. That you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no soul.
He says, you know, this time.
Yeah.
You know, you make me work so hard. So they are having this discussion, or he's just pleading, but instead of saying why I'm working so hard, you know, you do this to me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little shift, but a major one.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I never heard until I read the lyrics.
I mean, this is the power of Andy Bell as a lyricist, and you got to give credit. I mean, Vince Clarke's great. He's written great songs, but this one, for its sort of personal plea, is what makes it all the better, right? I love the idea of them being a partnership that works so well. There was a ridiculous article maybe I read that said this was the ultimate gay-straight alliance.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even want to... It's so condescending and stupid. I don't want to talk about it. But Vince Clarke also said about Andy Bell, no, this could be someone I could marry because we work so well together.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of funny how they speak about these things. And just, either way, the alliance, if I may say, just works so well for this song. They have so many other great songs.
Yes.
And I know if we were to talk to our friends who are big fans, they would say, oh, no, you got to hear Savannah Blue, or you got to hear this song instead.
Yeah.
But this is the one that is the guilt-free pleasure.
And then we come out of that little verse again into the pre-chorus, and you get to the chorus at the end. And the chorus is an outro, and they do these nice little echoes throughout it. Soul, I hear you calling. Oh, baby, please. And then you hear this little echo of give a little respect. Then the next line is give a little respect. And you have the echo of soul happening there. It's just this neat little atmospheric thing that they do at the end to outro the song.
And that pulsing drum beat, it feels like a bass drum. I don't know what's real and what's not. I'm imagining it's a drum machine.
Yeah.
But it's hitting so hard. Like whatever the bass lines and the drum that's going on there just moves it and just brings that weight. You know, we talked about the guitar, which you hear there. I forgot there's guitar, but when you hear it, of course it's there. And that guitar makes it more natural and not so mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
But that pulsing drum beat keeps you on earth. The vocals soar you up to heaven.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of all over the place. You're everywhere, to quote Fleetwood Mac. And it's wonderful. Okay, well, we've discussed this. We now need to talk about, this amazing video.
It is very much a 1980s video.
Yeah. I feel if you were to get a grade 6 student to describe what the video should be, they'd look at the lyrics and say, well, let's just put in everything we see in the lyrics. So when you say, don't make me blue, you could change the screen to blue.
Yes. And the video is Andy Bell singing, but he's kind of almost pixelated
Yeah.
or
Where it's like rain's falling down,
Yeah.
but he kind of comes in and out of focus
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
and it's just his face.
Yeah.
But on the bottom of the screen is Andy Bell and Vince Clarke, and they're kind of in these little vignettes that mimic the lyrics of the song. So when they say sweeter, there's a sugar bowl and sugar sitting there. When they say love, there's a Cupid.
Oh, man.
When they say work so hard, they say that a couple of times in this song. And those different times, there's a construction worker or a farmer.
Right.
When you say, I hear you calling me, there's a yodeler or there's a rotary dial phone.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. There's
Make
more.
love, not war is soldiers.
Yeah. Peace in our hearts is just literally in front of a stained glass window with above it saying peace in our hearts.
Yeah. Another time when you say, I hear you calling me, there's a guy holding up like one of those ear horns to like an old timey listening device.
Yeah.
It's just,
It says, give a little respect to me. But Vince has the respect sign and he passes it over
Yeah.
to Andy. Oh, he gave him a little respect.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
But you could see them having fun. Like Vince Clarke, famously, in all those pictures, he's so dour looking.
Yeah.
He smiles. At one point, they stick their tongues out at each other, and you can just barely see it. But he turns and he smiles at the camera, and you can see that he's actually enjoying this. And he does say this was like the only video he enjoyed making.
Yeah. And you could tell that they had fun making it too.
I mean, my preference is Chains of Love because it's such a wild video because the chains are pulling them up and down. It looks so dangerous and so fun. So, but in this one, I don't think anyone's going to get hurt.
No.
I'm curious about the budget. I feel like they're on a soundstage. It might be the same soundstage The Cure uses a couple years later. And they're just putting on outfits. And they can do this in a day. They said a lot of the videos were done in a day.
Yeah.
It's not like November Rain.
No, it didn't take $40 million.
Oh, my goodness.
2 months to record.
Question, Frank, what's your favorite part of the song?
I love that little instrumental break. I think it's really, really cool and awesome. But honestly, intro, I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter. Those opening lyrics, they just set everything right off for me.
Yeah, I really just love where his voice goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the chorus is like the greatest, right? So I can state I love where he reaches the heights for a little respect to me. But when he says, why you're making me work so hard, but the way his voice just kind of bounces around that, why you making me work so hard? It's just, I love it. I'm like, well, this guy's so confident in his voice and he nails it. And he's still pretty good at it now. I mean, I think the notes are a little lower, but he said he always loved his voice.
Yeah.
And this is something when we always have guests on and ourselves too, you have to get over what your voice actually sounds like.
Exactly.
And maybe this is why I was always terrified of singing. I didn't want to put myself out there. This is the thing that Andy Bell can do that I felt I was never able to do.
Exactly.
I'm never able to really say what I mean, I feel like, in my life. But he is able to get out there and say it. He loves the sound of his voice.
I don't love the sound of my voice, but I'm okay with it now.
Yeah.
And we have recently been criticized about the amount of singing that we've been doing, which is why I wanted to sing that part. I hadn't sung in the entire episode, but I was
I was wondering if you're going to bring it up. I was surprised because often you double and quadruple down.
Yeah.
I was surprised you just didn't sing the entire episode.
I was thinking about it.
Okay. Thank you for saving us.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love the sound of your voice. Okay, next up, we have a question. You brought it up about karaoke. People sing this at karaoke and the dangers of doing this.
Yes.
But you said you had a solution, I think?
Well, my solution to it is don't get comedic about it in the chorus.
Right.
Listen to the way Andy Bell sings that chorus. He's not shrieking, but everyone starts too high and they go up. And it gets to that, like that shrieky, shrill kind of sound in their voice if you're not doing it properly. I think the song is very much a karaoke song because you get a lot of
crowd participation.
Exactly.
And I think they'd come in for the chorus.
Yeah.
And that if you do it right, they're all in on it.
Yeah. And you can just stand back from the mic and you don't have to do this part.
Right.
Because if you're not doing it right, you're doing it very wrong.
That's right. Or very left, I
Yes.
guess. Yeah. Okay, there's the solution for karaoke. So our karaoke people, of course, we talk about this. I'm terrified of singing, so I'm not going to karaoke unless it's on an episode,
Yeah.
I think. Unless we do our Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures summer party where we have karaoke and our live episode,
Yeah.
which we have talked about for years and have never done.
I'm really looking forward to that because in my mind, we're doing karaoke, but we're talking about the song in the middle of it. But somehow we just have someone on an acoustic guitar giving that strumming sort of breakdown while we're talking about it, which is like super annoying.
Well, this could be great.
Yeah.
Okay. I love how you said super annoying, but I also saying, no, that sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah. It's great because we're doubling down on the super annoyingness of it.
Okay. All right. Let's talk some more about this
Okay.
after the episode. Okay. Next up, there's some covers of this, aren't there?
Yes. The two big covers are by a band called Bjorn Again,
Right.
who's an ABBA cover band. And first year university, I saw them in Toronto. And I don't remember specifically if they played this song, but I have to believe that they did. So I've seen this song live, covered by Bjorn Again. And it was a bit of an experience.
Yeah.
I was in first year university. I was with a couple of my friends, and we all went to a thrift shop to buy like 70s gear.
Yeah.
And my friend Mary had this full like sequin pantsuit. They brought people up onto the stage to see like who had the best outfit. And Mary far and away had the best one, but she was a little bit shy, so she didn't play it up.
Yeah.
And she didn't get the applause-o-meter to win the competition, but far and away she had the best outfit.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Great. Okay. And so the version, we're going to play a little
I thought we were
snippet
just
of
going
it.
to talk about my concert experience.
Yeah.
Seeing Bjorn Again.
Yeah. We'll play a little bit of it here.
Yeah.
That you give me, no, that you give me, no, that you give me, no, that you give me, no soul. I hear you call. Oh, baby, please give a little respect to me.
Okay, I see what they're doing there. I didn't realize it. I should have, as you were describing the concert experience. So this was ABBA. Bjorn Again is ABBA. I just thought,
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking. So it's hard not to see this almost as a parody, even though it's serious enough.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Next version, Wheatus.
Wheatus, who are famous for their song Teenage Dirtbag.
That you give me, no, that you give me, no, that you give me, no, that you give me, no soul. I hear you calling. Oh, baby, let's give a little respect to me.
It's a cover. I know the guys from Erasure think it's okay. It's not terrible, but it's nothing special.
Some funny, Andy Bell calls them Weetabix because
Yeah.
they're so young, which is funny. And also they're generous about it because I guess it makes you money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not a bad thing about that. But
Yeah.
it's tough. I don't know if I'd try to cover it, but a lot of people have covered it in concert, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just leave it to Andy Bell. There's a concert version from 1992 that he does, and the vocal is so good. The crowd is all into it. I just feel like, you know what? You just keep that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those songs where it's yours.
Yeah.
Unless you have someone with this generational vocal talent that can tackle it and give it the respect it deserves, it will always be Erasure's song.
Right. And maybe the respect it deserves is to do something totally different.
Yeah.
Even
could be
though
that.
I didn't like the Bjorn Again thing.
Yeah.
But okay. All right. So now top 10, Frank. You got a
Yes.
top 10? Did it ever make it to top 10? Made it 4?
No, it peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Okay. And I think it was higher in UK, maybe 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But either way, okay. So wow. Okay. So Billboard.
So it peaked at 14 the week of March 4th, 1989.
Yep.
Now, for context, this is 1 month before my sister's 14th birthday.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we can all kind of get that. Okay. Perfect.
Number 10, Paradise City by Guns N' Roses.
Yep. Okay. I know you like it. I don't know. I like it in the way that I like maybe Shot Through the Heart or You Give Love a Bad Name, I guess, from the Bon Jovi. I never listened to it.
I just like that the criteria for Paradise City is green grass and pretty girls, and that's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There's no city. There's no infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay.
Number 9, Surrender to Me by Ann Wilson and Robin Zander.
Oh, okay. From Heart and
Yes.
Wilson. Yeah.
Yep. 8, Ronnie by Bobby Brown.
Okay. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7, What I Am by Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians.
Okay. Great one. Yeah.
Yeah. 6, not such a great one. Wild Thing by Tone Loc.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Lyrically, people have fun dancing to it at the club
Yeah.
when we were in university.
Yeah.
But less said better right now.
Exactly. You Got It, The Right Stuff by New Kids on the Block at
Okay.
number 5.
Not Roy Orbison, right?
No.
Okay.
The Living Years, Mike and the Mechanics at number 4.
Oh, man. Such a sad song.
Yes. Straight Up by Paul Abdul at number 3.
You got it. That's kind of the same type of theme as A Little Respect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, The Lover and Me by Sheena Easton.
Yes. Okay. I remember that one.
And number 1 is Lost in Your Eyes by Debbie Gibson.
Oh, well, I'm not going to misspeak about Debbie Gibson.
No.
Did we do Lost in Your Eyes
No,
yet?
we haven't done that song.
Okay, well, we got lots to do.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so top 10. It's too bad Erasure didn't make it higher. I think it did go number 1 on the U.S. dance track, so there is a group of people in the States who knew it was amazing.
Yeah, that gave it a little respect.
Yeah, because that's the one you're going to dance to more than you're going to dance to Paradise City.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
You're just doing the Axl Rose sort of waving back and forth.
The snake moving up the pole.
Yeah.
Okay, mixtape.
Yes. What's your theme? Because mine is not much of a theme.
Okay, my theme was songs with the same name as other songs that were really popular.
Gotcha.
So this one, of course, is A Little Respect, and we're all thinking about the Aretha Franklin song. So I decided to go with a bunch of songs that had the same name. So I don't know for my mixtape if I'm including both songs. Maybe I am. Is your mixtape anything like this?
No.
Okay, this gives me the freedom to just go for it. So I'm going to start with a song that we know very well, C'est la vie.
Ah.
Yeah, by Chuck Berry.
Yes.
And then, of course, Robbie Neville's version of C'est la vie, which isn't the same song.
Also, Bewitched.
Right, Bewitched. That's right, C'est la vie. There we go. Okay. I have The River by Bruce Springsteen and Canada's The Tea Party.
Oh, yes.
I also have Drive by The Cars and REM. And now I got Jump by Van Halen. I also have Jump by the Pointer Sisters.
Nice.
I also have Jump by Criss Cross. And now we're just going all over the place here. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, and also Incubus. Lady, Commodores, and Kenny Rogers. I got that right?
Yes.
Okay. Did Lionel Richie write Lady for Kenny Rogers?
I think that he did.
I think that song by the Commodores isn't called Lady. Or is it called Lady? It is Lady. You got me up when I'm down. Lady.
Maybe you should research your own mixtape here.
All right. Well, either way. All right. Where am I? I'm going to close it. There's a lot of other songs.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to pick one by Three Dog Night. I think they sang, is that One is the Loneliest Number? Is that Three Dog Night? And then there's one called One by Metallica.
Yes.
And by you too, Frank. And I'm stopping there because I could just keep naming songs and I feel my mixtape is a bit of a mess.
That's a well-researched mixtape there, Bill.
You know, if you were really kind, you would edit it so it sounds like I just had 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah, we might just do that. But I also might not.
I know.
My mixtape are more songs that are similar to A Little Respect by Erasure. So I'm going to start off with 2 songs that we had already referenced in this episode. Just Can't Get Enough by Depeche Mode.
Right, there we go. Yeah.
And then Only You by Yazoo.
Perfect, yes.
Then we are going to go with It's My Life by Talk Talk.
Yeah.
Then Always on My Mind by the Pet Shop Boys.
Very good.
And finish it all off with Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Okay, all right. There we go. Very 80s.
Yeah.
Very on point. Well done, Frank. And focused.
Which is a first for me.
Yeah, well, I guess we're switching roles here.
I think so.
want to thank you for joining us for our celebration of A Little Respect by Erasure.
And we're fairly certain that we got the name of the band correct.
So we don't get erased. Sure, right, Frank?
Are you a father?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am. We do hope that we gave a little respect to not only the band, but also to the song, and to all of our listeners who love songs like this.
And we want to thank the listeners for joining us each and every week, that you give us a reason why you make us work so hard, so we can give a little respect to you.
You've been listening to Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures.